Kia ora, good evening. 1 year ago today, almost to the hour, Aucklanders started to feel the serious effects of intense rain that led to 10,000 properties being flooded. Over 4 days, more rain fell than it would normally in 6 months. And that's even before Cyclone Gabrielle hit. But when the damage from those combined events was totalled up, it led to a $2 billion recovery package being drawn up by the Crown and Auckland Council. 3,500 different repair projects have been identified. That includes roads, wastewater, infrastructure, parks and facilities. At least 7,000 stickers were placed on at-risk properties in the immediate aftermath, and more than 1,000 still have them attached 1 year later. 93 properties have been bought out, but the total number is expected to reach about 600. Nick Trubridge looks back on the devastating event and what's happened since.
From the shocking vision of locals swimming for their lives and the sound of relentless rain to the eerie silence of a deserted street. Welcome back to Clover Drive, Henderson, where the houses are now boarded up. This was a busy suburban street before January 27 last year. On that day, the rain started and didn't stop. By the time our cameras arrived, the neighbourhood was underwater as residents struggled to make it out.
If we were standing where we were on the day, we'd be swimming. This street was inundated with floodwater, and the viewers would remember seeing shots from camera shots of up here of people trying to escape and holding things above their heads and holding children. Very harrowing.
Lyle Carter lives just around the corner from here and says this is representative of many streets in Auckland's west, deserted.
Yeah, it's just devastating for our community, and these people have been displaced, no longer live here, no longer live in our community, and we miss them.
Things turned bad quickly that afternoon. If only a way forward moved at the same pace, many still don't know whether they'll be bought out or stay put.
Our people need certainty, and so the categorisation needed to happen months ago. For a large number of Aucklanders, they have been stuck in the Auckland Anniversary flood on that date because time has stood still for them.
The chaos around Auckland that day was mirrored by the chaos here at Auckland Council. Mayor Wayne Brown copped it at the time.
Thousands of people out there, and that's what I was doing. But he wasn't here. I was making sure that took place.
And you were just typical of being in the attack mode, and fair enough, that's what you're paid to do.
He's already apologised for councils and his own shortcomings, but maintains he was laser focused on steering the city through a disaster and recovery.
I think the media focused on the wrong questions. It was as simple as that. They were worried about empathy. We'd had 6 years of empathy. That got voted out. What they want is people who will face the issues and do something about it.
But his main takeaway is what and where Aucklanders should be allowed to build.
I looked straight out there when I visited and thought, my God, these people are always going to flood. How did they get allowed to build in such an unfortunate place?
Then there's the infrastructure recovery. Watercare's works program from last year's storm events alone will cost at least $100 million and involves more than 200 damaged assets.
This is probably the biggest natural disaster that we have faced that we've had to put repairs in place for. Yeah, it was huge, a huge impact on our community and on our infrastructure.
That stuff will be built back stronger, but some communities will never be the same. Lyle Carter says his is changed forever.
Yeah, for our street, there's just, all of our mates are gone, and it's anyone's guess what's going to happen with our street.
The water drained as quickly as it came that day, but it took so much with it. Nick Trubridge, Newshub.
And for every one of those damaged houses, there is a story of woe. And as Lucy Thompson discovered, it often began after the floods receded.
In Auckland's Remuera, you don't have to look far to remind yourself of the pain and suffering caused by the events of last January. Shore Road was among the worst hit, a giant slip claiming homes and the life of Transport Museum volunteer Dave Leonard. Across town and 1 year on, there's very little left of Andrew Marshall's West Auckland home.
They basically took whatever the flood didn't take.
Since the flooding, looters have been helping themselves to anything and everything they can get their hands on.
It's beyond a kick in the teeth. It started from the very first night we were away, and it continues, right to today.
Marshall's home was also flooded back in 2021, meaning he and his family had an evacuation plan.
So it's like right up here.
When the water rose 1.2 metres above the floorboards. But he says nothing can prepare you for the emotional toll.
It took me, right to the edge of my mental health, I would say. But having little Madeline, 3-year-old, that gave us some great distraction.
Marshall stopped drinking alcohol and sought counselling almost straight away.
It's only now really that I'm starting to really be able to face everything again.
And he says they're finally regaining some certainty.
We've just in the last few days received word from the council that we're category 3, so intolerable risk to life and eligible for a buyout. So that's an enormous relief, but we've still got that whole process to go through.
But he says he's hopeful for the year ahead.
The other big hope would be that we learn the lesson from this event and that we can make all of the community around here safe. And at a national level, we need regulatory change. So we're actually providing for the New Zealanders of the future.
A future that for the Marshall family is finally looking brighter again. Lucy Thompson, Newshub.